a lesson that we could take from the Greek Odyssey that when applied to real life could help us avoid the regular white-knuckle style of discipline that we've just been told to get used to. See, speaking as someone who has a massive media addiction, someone who will get lost in hours and hours of going down YouTube rabbit holes, if I could find something like this that I could apply to my real life and actually make it effective, this would be game-changing. See, and that's what this video is about. I'm going to be delving into Homer's Odyssey, studying the story of Odysseus, and in particular one aspect that I think has the key to us figuring out a way in real life to keep a discipline that is actually achievable and not just us white-knuckling it through life. Now, if you're unaware, Homer's Odyssey is an epic poem that was written many moons ago, and in which it tells the story of Odysseus returning home from his journeys. And basically, this returning home is like a 10-year stint. But in particular today, I want to be focusing on one aspect of that story, and that is when he is going past the cove where all of the sirens are. Now, for those unaware, the sirens are basically a creature that can lure different sailors to their dooms with an enchanting call that will lure them in towards the shores, and then once the ship has harbored and pretty much been destroyed in the process, they are also killed off by the sirens themselves. This is where we get the term siren song from. And in the Odyssey, Odysseus has an understanding of what these sirens are. He's heard the stories, he knows exactly how much danger they are, and yet there is still something behind his mind going, hey, I want to hear what their call is. I want to indulge in whatever this alluring aspect of their call actually is so I can experience it firsthand. But he knows that in doing so, he would lose his mind and crash his ship. So he came up with a plan. He knew that he could not rely on his own white-knuckle discipline to just kind of listen to it and stick through it. Instead, he set up safeguards, and that safeguard was simply two things. The first, he would be tied to the mast of his ship. He would have his ears open and be able to hear everything, but he also told his crew, no matter what I say, if I start screaming out to help for you to let me go, tie me tighter to the mast. He knew that in his moment of weakness, he would not be thinking the way that he needed to. He knew that he would be a weak link in the chain. So, he decided on creating an external force that would keep him accountable, keep him moored to the ship, and making sure that he did not lure them all to their death. And then the second thing was making sure that all of them also blocked their ears with different pieces of cotton or whatever they had around. And the idea there being that although Odysseus would be able to hear the siren's call, none of them would. None of them would be affected by it. He had these other external people making sure that he would not go crazy. And I think that this is the fundamental aspect that we can learn from and actually start applying to our real life. If we know that we are going through times where there's going to be distractions and things that want to allure us to do other things, for me, delving into hours and hours of YouTube, starting with just I might just watch one. I know that I'm going to fail. I'm going to crash my ship into the shore because I will just end up hours later going, where did that time go? I could have been doing so many other things with that and then feeling bad because of it. So, I've learned that I'm going to start applying this mentality, and I have been for the past couple of months. The idea that I know I can't trust myself, so I need external aspects to tie me to the mast, to make sure that even when there is that distraction, I can still make sure that I am being pulled away from it all. So then the question becomes, how do we design these external forces to tie us to the mast? Well, the first and foremost is identifying what the problem is. Odysseus knew that it was the call of the siren that would send him crazy and make him lure the ship towards its watery grave. So, what he did was making sure that those around him could not hear the call. He understood the danger, the key element that created that danger, and then made sure that the systems around him and the people around him made sure that that would not affect them. So if I'm looking at my life, the thing that I need to identify is, okay, my problem is when there is a video in front of me, I want to click it. I want to just indulge in that dopamine hit of consumption, because we live in an age nowadays where that consumption is so absolutely amazing. It is built around our mind going, hey, here is this thing that they want, let's give it to them and make sure they stay on here. The irony that my work is also creating videos for that exact thing is irrelevant at this point, but thank you for watching. The thing I want to point out though is that I know that if I am on the platforms in which there is media to consume, I will consume it. So I need to create something that stops me from accessing those websites. Now, I've tried a variety of different programs that have kind of blocked different websites. In particular, at the moment, the one I'm using is called Cold Turkey. And in particular, Cold Turkey, the way it does it is you give it a list of websites and you say, hey, while you're running, do not allow me on these websites. And from there, if you try and access them, it blocks them and goes, hey, you said you weren't going to do that. I'm not going to allow you on here. And the way I've set it up personally is that every day at midnight, so 12 o'clock, right as the next day starts, it activates. And it makes sure that I can't access the websites that I find distracting. Different social media, YouTube, whatever it is. I can't access the media that I know will distract me and keep me from doing the things I know I want to do. And with that, You can also set a password to make sure that you have to enter in the password before you can unlock it. And I used a password manager. And in particular, I used a thing where it's a password that I absolutely could not even think to imagine. But what I've done is actually written it as a reward in my real-life RPG system. Now, if you're unaware, the real-life RPG system is a Notion template that I've created and you can get in the description below, where basically I've turned my life into a video game, and in that, by doing tasks and doing different things that I know I need to do each day, I can earn experience, and in particular, I can earn gold. And then I can go and use that gold in the shop that I've designed. Now, at a basic level, the shop is based around buying items to help heal you up and whatnot, but I added an extra item, and I called it the power attack. This power attack is something that breaks the blocker. And basically, what it does is that I need to earn a certain amount of gold each day by doing certain tasks, usually the high leverage tasks that make sure that I earn enough. Each high leverage task is probably around 10 gold for me, so I make it so that I have to get at least 50 gold worth to buy this item. Once I do that, I can open up the page that it holds and get the password that then unlocks the blocker. I know at that point, I have earned this reward. It turns the idea of getting this reward and doing that power attack to break the blocker and make sure that I can then access those things as a reward afterwards, a game each day. And in that, I know that there is a challenge, and when I'm challenged, I know that I can run forward. And that's the key. The gamification of it all has made sure that I am actually sticking to it. See, in the past, I've tried other things like this, where I set a schedule, and outside of that schedule is when I can view things, and during that schedule, I can't do anything. And I find myself going, oh, no, this just isn't enjoyable. There's nothing towards it. But by having this external force that is making sure that I can't access them, the cold turkey thing, and having a gamified element that I can work towards and something that I can fight and imagine going, oh, I'm doing this for a reason, so that each day there is a progress and reward that I get from my actions. And in particular, having a gold value, a number that I can work towards, knowing that my actions are directly contributing to it, that there is a motivation, there is a why behind my actions. I know that if I do at least 5 high leverage tasks, or maybe 6 to 7 of the regular tasks, I can reward myself by going, cool, for the rest of the day, I don't need to work. I have earned enough to make sure that I can confirm that I do not need to do that anymore. I have access to the distractions. The thing is, after that, I can still work if I want, but it's not a necessity. The fact that I'm recording this right now is proof that I am actually doing the things that I want to be doing. See, I know right now if I tried to access YouTube or Netflix or any other number of different websites that are distracting, I wouldn't be able to access them because that thing would pop up going, hey, no. What I do know is that if I try and go to the shop and try and buy this little item, I need to make sure that I have done enough tasks to earn the gold to then buy it. So I have a motivation each day to make sure that I can work towards the goals I want to achieve. So, in your life, think about what your problem is, the thing that is dragging you down, that is mooring your ship into absolute destruction. And see if you can find a truth behind it, that core aspect that you can then start building around, building a system around, making sure your crew is tying you to the mast. If you take Odysseus's story as a starting point, you can build the story around your goals and the things that you want to achieve. Don't let the siren's call kill you like it has killed so many others, myself included, to this point. And don't simply rely on the white knuckling of, oh, I'm disciplined, I'll get through this, because at the end of the day, that will burn you out and eventually you'll go, yeah, but what if I just go for a swim with the sirens? And if you want some help throughout all this, again, there's a link in the description to the real life RPG, the system that I use to gamify my life and many other people have found has helped them gamify theirs as well to achieve the things that they want to achieve. And now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go complete some other tasks so I can finally buy that power attack for the day.